All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings in today's video. 28-6 road victory over the New York Giants. Literally no better way to start off this season, especially considering, we know what happened to JJ McCarthy. But this is crazy. This was a domination football game. They did exactly what they wanted to do. It was extremely clean. It was extremely efficient, effective. And this was also obviously the first time since 2017 that Kirk Cousins was not the Minnesota Vikings starting quarterback to kick off the regular season. This is Sam Darnold's fourth team since being drafted only in 2018. He's only 27 years old. He was drafted, as we remember, number 3 overall. 2 touchdown performance. I think he did a phenomenal job. And I was reading this article, and they're kind of talking about how the Bucs of last season with Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith with the Seattle Seahawks 2 years ago, you have an extremely talented quarterback who, for whatever reason, maybe lack of starting opportunities or maybe just being drafted by the New York Jets and then going to the Carolina Panthers. We always think that every storyline, or every summer, I should say, there's a storyline that we always are just kind of hoping that one of these guys like Sam Darnold can propel themselves into a legitimate starting caliber quarterback with a starting job, I should say. That's exactly my thought on Sam Darnold. JJ McCarthy's injury was extremely unideal, but Sam Darnold was brought in here for a reason, and he was absolutely awesome. So welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings in today's video. But before we do, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Try and post at least one Vikings video every single week. I got ragged in these comments like 2 weeks ago from non-Vikings fans. I said in the video, like it was my my season preview, I was like, the Minnesota Vikings are way too talented of a team. Whether it's offensive pieces, new addition running back Aaron Jones, whether it's just Brian Flores' defensive scheme, or all the new whether it's free agent acquisitions, draft acquisitions like Dallas Turner. Minnesota's way too talented of a team to win less than 7 games this upcoming season, and I still believe that's true. Sam Darnold started the game 12 of 12. His first incompletion was around the 2-minute warning. Yes, that is in the second half. He completed nearly 80% of his passes. He averaged 8.7 yards per completion. Once again, 19 of 24, 208 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and then that 1 interception, which we'll talk about in just a second. But you just couldn't have had a better debut. He was in rhythm. The ball was extremely accurate. They kept to a script. We heard Kevin O'Connell entering this game. He said this: the one priority for Sam Darnold was keeping him within the guardrails of play intent, which means make the throws that are available. Don't get too far off what is supposed to happen. Don't try and create stuff out of nothing. When your back's up against the wall, try to be the hero. Sam Darnold, I think about that 44-yard reception to Justin Jefferson. For some reason, sorry guys, I'm out of breath. I'm too excited to talk about the Minnesota Vikings. I don't even think we did an intro. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, we did. Never mind. If we try and get this video to 200 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. We're all out of sorts today. It is week 1 officially wrapped up, or it'll be wrapped up later tonight, but a lot of football to be watched, a lot of football to cover. Didn't get to this game till today, and it was just seriously beautiful. Now, one quick thing, the Minnesota Vikings defense, I was reading comments, and everyone was saying, like, oh, what can you expect against going up against the New York Giants? What a lot of people don't understand is the Giants actually have a competent defense. What they lack is, a reliable, competent quarterback in Danny Dimes. The defense will have some tough tests in the next couple of weeks. I was just checking your schedule. I can't believe it's this difficult. Your next couple of games: San Francisco, Houston, Green Bay, the Jets, the Lions, the Rams, bunch of good teams, but one game at a time. The Giants finished with only 240 yards of offense. They averaged only 3.5 yards per carry. It was so bad, the Giants fans were booing. You could hear the skull chant throughout the entire game, or I should say starting in the second quarter. And I saw this really cool statistic. The Vikings leaned on a 4-man pass rush on 75.5% of their defensive snaps. This is according to True Media. Last year, they deployed a 4-man pass rush only 30% of the time. Even though they only brought 4 pass rushers, or 4 rushers, 75.5% of the time, They hit Daniel Jones 11 times. They forced him into 2 interceptions, and they sacked him 5 total times. So we'll get to this defense in just a second, but Sam Darnold, once again, tip of the cap. 79% of his 24 passes, 208 yards. It was absolutely beautiful. And now he's got a matchup this upcoming week against his former team from last year, the San Francisco 49ers. Welcome to the Minnesota Vikings, Mr. Aaron Jones. I will always miss you. Unfortunately, you do look pretty good in purple, but he made his Vikings debut in grand fashion. 14 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. He averaged 6.7 yards per rush. This was a huge missing piece to the Minnesota Vikings with or without Kirk Cousins last year. Alexander Mattison, obviously, technically the backup running back over in Las Vegas right now. Ty Chandler really came alive in that final month of the season, but they were really missing a game-changing player in Aaron Jones. And by the way, he's only 29 years old. I understand why the Packers moved off of him, to get Josh Jacobs, but I will seriously always miss this dude. Receiving game, nothing crazy. I would say, literally the only downside to the entire football game was Jordan Addison's ankle injury. The good news is this is not the same ankle that he injured in that joint practice against the Cleveland Browns a couple of weeks ago, but it is unfortunate. If you guys remember, Minnesota actually took down San Francisco last year, but Jordan Addison had a phenomenal game. He had 7 or 9 catches for 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, something along those lines. We'll wait and see. We don't have too much information at the time of this recording, but there wasn't anything too crazy. Justin Jefferson, 4 catches, 59 yards and a touchdown. Jordan Addison, before he got injured, 3 catches for 35 yards. Josh Oliver making a name for himself in the wake of TJ Hawkinson still being on the IR. That's going to last at least a month. And then Jalen Naylor, beautiful example of Kevin O'Connell being an underrated play caller, being one of the most underrated, underappreciated offensive coaches in the National Football League. It was a 21-yard touchdown pass. The play was just beautifully orchestrated. So let's get to this defense real quick. Andrew Van Ginkel, I think, is the perfect representation for, he played with Brian Flores in Miami a couple of years ago. And I think I don't even really know what to say here. A big concern, I don't think that's the right word, but what a lot of people were concerned with heading into the Minnesota Vikings as far as the defense goes this season is losing guys like Danielle Hunter. But what a lot of people didn't realize is all the pieces they brought in. Andrew Van Ginkel was a perfect representation of that. He had a pick 6 for 10 yards. That was beautiful. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful against Danny Dimes himself. Harrison Smith also had an interception towards the end of the game. Byron Murphy, 9 total tackles. He was a freaking beast. Ivan Pace Jr., rising beast in the National Football League, get a phenomenal rookie season last year, being undrafted, might I add. Stephon Gilmore, brand new addition. He did his thing, getting into the sacks. Welcome to the NFL, Dallas Turner. He had a sack. Pat Jones II had 2 sacks. Van Ginkel had a sack. Harrison Phillips. I didn't realize until today, Harrison Phillips had 96, 92, 94 tackles. He had over 90 tackles last year. Once again, this defense, in my opinion, is severely underrated. And they have one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL in Brian Flores. So, once again, that second half of the schedule looks really nice. Your next 5-6 football games are going to be a little bit difficult, but if you can even get out of that stretch 2-3, 3-3, heading in, 6 weeks into the season, I think every Vikings fan would take that. But obviously, don't want to get too far ahead of myself. That's all I got for you guys in today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. But most importantly, guys, Vikings fans especially, give me a team grade rating down below in the comments.